Alright, I got this R2-D2 bubble machine by Imperial Toys. This came in that estate sale with all the disassembled Star Wars toys. I'd assumed it worked. When you hit the button, the head turns back and forth, and that's all it does. It's not supposed to do that. It's supposed to go back and forth and center itself and then go to a ready mode, not just keep turning back and forth. So I had gotten some bubble juice, and I found a standard, bottle of bubbles that you get at the dollar store. Fits perfect, screws in there. That's what you need for that. But yeah, he's not doing the right thing that he's supposed to be doing. So let's see. The battery compartment is in the front, and I've tested the batteries. They were all fine. I think they're the original batteries that came with it, but they're good till 2033. They all measured out good. I even replaced them with brand new batteries just to see if that's what it was. Still doing the same thing. There's also a reset button here, which I've held for up to 5 minutes. Hasn't done anything. Hit a couple buttons, held at the same time. Nothing's happening. So there's something that's preventing it from going back to its home mode. I think it's stuck in side to side. So we'll see how we can get this apart and see if we can fix it. I'm going to start by taking the bubble bottle out. There are screws around here. Screws down here. I don't know if that holds it to the front. Yeah, let's start with these. There's 4 of them, it looks like. Possibly 6 of them. Got 2 micro switches here that tell it to go back and forth. I think I'm going to take this front panel off here as well. I'll give it a little more access. Alright, with that cover off, down into the guts of it here, I don't really see anything wrong there. Nothing's unplugged or... I was checking this board. There was like a piece of something here. I don't know what that was. All the legs here are solid. One thing I did notice, down on this end, you got some cold solder joints. 1 or 2 of these are actually kind of loose. I'm going to reflow those, and these were okay, but I'll reflow those and see what happens. This right here, from our right to our left, it says paddle L4, L1, L2. Yeah, they all look a little sus. Even right down to the blower on this end, it's it almost looks like there's a ring around it. Alright, here's what I'm thinking, and I'm no expert, but just fixing stuff and seeing how things work. This cable that goes into here is constantly being pulled back and forth by that motion of the head, and that could be why. These have a little more length to them, so they're getting pulled back and forth up here. These are kind of taut, like right up to the head, so I wonder if that's what made these solder joints a little loose. Anyway, I don't know if that's it, but that's a good place to start before I start tearing into this head. So let's do that. Add a little flux so it flows better. Okay, those connectors have been reflowed, and when I was looking up close, they're all seem to be good. See if this works. We're still stuck in back and forth. Nope. So we're gonna have to tear into this head end of it. Little switch right here, tons of corrosion. I'm getting contact on one of the wires, but I'm not getting contact on the second wire to the board. And this is also in the area where the micro switches are that keep telling it to go back and forth. I wonder if this has something to do with that. Access to this thing. Get a little closer in. It's another micro switch. That isn't going to work if it's corroded. That gets hit when it goes by. That has something to do with this. much of a connection that's making. It's barely holding on by a thread. Let's check the multimeter again. See if we have continuity from the board to it. Yeah, we got continuity. Continuity on that one. Ooh. It's this switch here. That's what it is. That switch isn't turning it off. When I cross the switch, there we go. What happens when I put this gear back on? I believe this is the pump. You can see the little fan here. Let's see what happens. Turn it on. Jump it out. Let's choose forward. Alright, so I jumped this motor over to on a TIE Fighter, and the motor works. So is it this motor and that micro switch which is not working? I did put some deoxit in there. It came to life actually for a couple seconds. I think that just needed to be worked in. That's working. Button up the tabs here. I did a bunch of work off camera on this. It was getting a little frustrating, but I think I finally got it figured out. I was working on this motor here, and it's actually got two motors. This motor is the fan, and it also drives the pump that pumps the liquid up. So that does a lot of work. In a normal Star Wars toy that I've taken apart, like TIE Fighters, X-Wings, you know, it has one small gear that does one job. This is doing double duty. It's the fan and the pump. So the way it works is at the top of this motor there's a gear that it's actually three gears. The top of the motor is a screw drive that goes to a small gear that runs a larger gear with two little nubs that go around and massage the bubble juice through the tubes, right? And then the bottom of it spins this giant fan. So getting that motor in there right was a little bit tough. Of course, the wire they use here is super thin, so that's always wanting to break. And then the fan really needs to be pushed to the bottom of the post to be able to spin in here freely. So it's like, you know, sometimes it works, Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you get a little help. That's it. So these two wires run a micro switch, and when they're connected, that runs the fan. So we turn it on. It wants to home itself, and then say it's home. That would be this connection, and then the fan comes on. And the top of that fan, like I said, the top of that motor is driving the juice through there. The bottom is blowing air through the front. This head goes back and forth on a micro switch. I don't know if I showed that in an earlier video. That micro switch is sitting right in there, and so the head, when it turns on, it's going to home itself. When it hits the center, that's where it's going to stop. That micro switch, if you have a bubble machine like this and the head keeps going back and forth, it's this micro switch right here. It's most likely, the way this is designed, it tilts back, and I believe all the bubble juice cools here. So before I put this together, and when I get that micro switch in there, I'm going to drill a hole down here somewhere, like a weep hole, to let anything that goes down there, you know, dribble out the bottom, because this thing probably leaks. I don't know how long it's going to last as a bubble machine. I mean, it is a cool sculpt, so it might just be, you know, a shelf thing. But yeah, I'll show you how it goes back together. So basically, that's the whole pump goes up in the head right there. And so the micro switches, I ended up getting micro switches, and figure out how this goes in. It's got two lugs that it solders to. Move that out of the way. This is going to want to, let's see, it sits in there. It's going to want to sit in the slot. It's got two little posts that hold it, with the blade pushing to the right. Like that. And then when this blue knob, which is controlled by the head, this little piece of plastic here runs across this knob and then hits your switch. So I should have just be able to solder these on and see if that works. Alright, so switch is in. I think I got the wiring right. Test it out. Let's start up. I'm going to tell it it's home. Let's clear itself out. I think that's what this is, and then you can go into let's say forward. Finds home, and these are little bursts of fluid and air that are going through. So yeah, that's working pretty good. As that goes along there and it hits the switch. Nice. I'm going to move the switch out of the way actually for a sec. And I want to drill a hole. Thinking right about here is where it wants to pool up. I'll do two of them for each side. Either one will be enough. Right by the, I'm going to put it right by the switch. It's actually right under the switch, so that the switch hopefully keeps it clear. Alright, so let's start putting this thing back together. The first thing we're going to have to do is, I believe this top part goes on first. Like that. Actually, no, we gotta a little cover here. A little cover for the micro switch. It's just like that. Keeps that secure. Alright, the switch is secure. And we want to turn this. You want to make sure that this tab here is in between your two micro switches that send it back and forth. That's what triggers all three of these micro switches, is that tab. They're right about there. Slide that down. It's a collar that holds it together. Alright, with that, his neck secure there, you can put his head on. He's going to go just like this. Line up your holes. Alright, so I ended up losing the speaker wire, but I got that back together. So we have the head together here, and let's see if we can get this together, and then we'll give it a little test. Alright, the speaker wants to sit over in here, in the speaker spot. Head sitting where it goes first. Slides. There's a little channel here where the head slides into. Pretty straightforward. That's what it is. Yes. Alright, so two little screws up here on the board. Hold it in. Alright, let's see how this works. Power's on. Let's center himself. Just start blowing out some bubbles. And now he's in the ready mode. You can have him go forward. You can have him go side to side. And then random. I don't know what that is. Goes back and forth. Oh, and then starts spraying. Very cool. Kind of missing my third hose here. Oh, that's pretty cool. Oh, what a mess though he's making. Awesome. Well, that works. That's pretty cool. It is messy, as I said, so this is going to be a little tough. Then a rag. I got bubble juice everywhere when I turned it upside down. But that works, you saw that. So, his front foot like that. It's going to be backwards. Like that. Alright. And then we've got... Let's get the juice out of here. That's just going to make a mess. I don't know if you realized, I realized there's supposed to be 3 tubes coming down here. So the one in the middle pumps the juice up, I think, or air back, or however that works. Let's get some more screws in here. Alright, that buttons up everything on the inside. I got his front leg on. Now the side legs are going to be a little difficult. I think when you got this out of the package, these portions here were on the body and you clip the legs on. So we're going to be doing a little backwards here. And I believe the gold things point forward. So let's put this one on here. And this one goes on here. Back section on. That's not what I wanted. Alright, so I got them back together here. Let's get some screws in there. There's one in there already. Nice. Alright, he looks awesome. Seems to work good. Let's load him up. You open up this back. I think it's kind of neat they designed these that, you know, it's an off-the-shelf cheap bottle of bubbles. Fits in there good. So there you are. That's an Imperial Toys R2-D2 bubble maker. Makes a lot of noise. And it makes a huge mess. That stuff is all over my bench now, just from running it for a little bit. So, yeah, that's how it works. I had some problems with the switches inside after I had finished, thought I was finished. And it was just a matter of letting them dry out. It seems to be working again. So, yeah, you got your power, your forward, side to side, random. It does make a mess, so I don't know, you know. I think it should be outside thing maybe, but yeah, that was only running it for 30-40 seconds and there's a huge puddle here. I'm sure that something's leaking. If yours is not working, it's most likely one of those micro switches in the head or the pump motor with the fan. Either way, I mean, it's a bad design all around. The bubble juice is leaking everywhere, and yeah. So, but anyway, I want to thank you for joining me. Thumbs up so I know you like my content, and we'll talk again soon. Bye for now.